Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. It's time for some live Q&A. If you're watching live, use hashtag Bears or Super Chat. If you're watching on a later date, well, if you didn't get your question answered, you can tweet at me at HGramNFL. Let's start with Jeremy Crickets. Could the Bears draft a cornerback in round one? I wouldn't completely rule this one out, Jeremy. I think it's at least a possibility and something you have to consider if you're Chicago. Of course, I think it depends on how the draft shakes out. These are my biggest needs right now for the Bears. Quarterback is still the biggest, believe it or not, in my opinion. Offensive tackle is right there. You could argue that's the top need, at least for this year. Cornerback, I got it at number 3 after releasing Kyle Fuller. Wide receiver, I still think is a need. There's uncertainty with Allen Robinson's future. And then safety at number 5. I think they'll handle that in free agency, but we'll have to wait and see. But as far as a corner goes, I do think drafting one is at least a possibility. So what should the Bears' approach be in round one? Type N if you think drafting for biggest need, or type B for best player. Let me know, what should the Bears' approach be in round one? Brian May with the Super Chat. Appreciate it, my friend. All the experts are killing me by continuing talking about the Russ trade. Let it go. It's time for the Red Rifle. Let's effing go. Love the show. Look, it's like I said yesterday, and I saw you guys in the comments saying, stop giving us false hope about Russell Wilson. If people like Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen are going to keep talking about it, I'm at least going to bring it up on days that that's a big talking discussion. I've never once said I think it's likely. Going back to before the offer, I told you guys the most likely scenario is Russell Wilson stays in Seattle. But if reputable NFL insiders are saying that it's still possible, then you can't completely rule it out. That being said, you should already have passed the phase of expecting it to happen. Mentally prepare yourself that it will not happen, but that doesn't mean there's not a chance that it could happen. Another super from Michael Mixed and Magnificent, the triple M's. With Sam Darnold now a Panther, the three-way Wilson trade is dead. Yeah, it's more of a long shot now because we know Pete Carroll likes him. So, should offensive line, corner, and wide receiver be the draft focus now? Name is pronounced Mikhail. Mikhail? Okay, got it. Mikhail, gotcha. Okay, I was confused, but now I get it there. I still think you should explore the draft class of quarterbacks, by the way. Obviously, offensive line, I think you need a tackle. That, they can say that they're fine with Jermaine Ifedi. That's a smokescreen. Corner, yeah, I just mentioned. I think that's an area. Then receiver as well. I think quarterback and those three right there that you just mentioned, those are your top 4 needs right now. So, yeah, I think all those areas will be major targets in the NFL draft. Scotty's next up. Bears trade up to the number 4 pick with the Atlanta Falcons. Scotty, if you're watching live, I encourage you to stay tuned for our trade up ideas video. It's going to cost a lot, but I do have an idea around trading up to number 4, so stay tuned for that. If you're watching this mailbag later, then that video has already been published. Go check it out on the channel. Jonah Gonzalez, do you think the Wilson talk will really heat up again? I would guess probably not, but I'm guessing Ryan Pace has at least called at least one time since they turned down the trade. Again, guys, Adam Schefter tripled down on it. Chris Mortensen said it. Mike Tannenbaum. Now, a lot of their thinking was, well, if the Seahawks can get a guy like Sam Darnold, maybe it can make sense. That part of it's gone now, and that's been the biggest issue between the two teams is how does Seattle get a quarterback in this deal, because the Bears can't offer that with a quarterback on their roster or with the number 20 pick. Wiley Ferris, what do you think about Caleb Farley falling to 20 or trading up a little bit for him? I wouldn't trade up for Farley because of the back injury. In my recent mock draft, I did select him at number 20. If you want to see the full mock, go check it out on the channel here on Bears Now. Just subscribe and go to the videos tab. You'll find it on one of our 4 or 5 most recent videos. If he's there at 20 and the quarterbacks are all gone and you don't feel good about the lineman on the board, I'm okay with picking him there. I think that's good value. Scotty again, is Deon Bush going to be the starting safety next to Eddie Jackson, strong safety, obviously? As of now, he is, but I would expect Chicago to sign somebody. I think Bush is at his best when he's your third safety and a major special teams contributor. I'm not convinced you want him being an every down safety, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Do you follow local news? Like, do you keep up with what's going on in your community, whether it's, the weather, restaurants, whatever it is, local news? Are you a fan of it? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Curious what you guys think on this one. Do you guys keep up with what's happening in your city, in your community, whatever the case may be? Go ahead and get your votes in on this one. If you do, or if you want an easier way to do so, follow us on NewsBreak. Download the NewsBreak app at chatsports.com/BearsNB. That'll redirect you to the download area for NewsBreak. Just go ahead and download. And once you do, you can find more Bears Now videos over there by just searching Bears Now, and then hit that follow button to help us out. Let's get over 100 followers on Bears Now on NewsBreak. We have some of our videos over there now as we've partnered with them. But if you want more local news as well, not just, more Bears Now coverage, NewsBreak is really great. You can turn on notifications. They'll keep you up with all the major stories happening in your community, your city, whatever your zip code is. It's going to feed you those type of stories, that type of information. Of course, easy place to check the weather as well. If you're into politics, there's political commentary as well, both locally and nationally. You can search different stuff. NewsBreak is a great app. We've partnered up with these guys. Download it by using our link. That really helps us out, helps support the show. Chatsports.com/BearsNB. We've partnered up with NewsBreak. More Bears Now content and more local news and sports articles and videos as well. So go ahead, download that, and check those guys out. Next up on our mailbag, cameras were on. I think we should trade up for Trey Lance. I think he's worth the risk. Just don't think Mac Jones or Justin Fields are worth trading that much up for. If you should trade up, get Trey Lance. Well, I think it sounds like Mac Jones is going to the 49ers. There's a lot of time between now and the draft, but either way, I don't think they'll trade up for Jones at this place. I do think Lance and Fields are more likely. I don't care which one. I think both are worth going and getting. I think Lance is a physical specimen. He can really run. He's got a cannon of an arm, quick release. Fields he ran really well at the combine. He could throw a good deep ball. I think he's a good player as well. So I'm good with both those guys. So if they fall to 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, I think go move up and take a chance. Steve Lekarski, that's probably wrong. Trask in the third. Third round, I think is fine. I'm okay with him in the second. I'm starting to back off of that for a while. I was like, yeah, I'll take him at 52, but, I'd rather get him in the third. Third round, I would draft Kyle Trask. Levi D, you think the Packers could pull a Jimmy G on Jordan Love? Could be something to look into if a trade doesn't happen. I think the difference is, and I could be wrong on this, but I don't think I am. Actually, I know I'm not. We at least saw Jimmy G play a little bit before the Patriots traded him. Remember Deflategate, Tom Brady got suspended, played in a few games, played pretty well. We haven't seen Jordan Love. Guys, he was the Packers' third-string quarterback last year as a rookie. That's how lowly they thought of him in year one, so I'm not that interested. Plus, interdivision as well. I'm not giving the Packers serious draft capital for Jordan Love. If they hate him and are like, hey, we'll take a fourth, maybe, but definitely not giving up a first or a second. Now, if they trade for Jordan Love or do something crazy, especially when it comes to the quarterback position, we are going to cover it. YouTube.com/BearsNow, that is the place to be. Hit that big red button and subscribe and share that link with a friend. Daily videos coming your way around the NFL draft, free agency, trades, rumors, news, mailbags, live shows. We do it all. Go ahead and subscribe right now. Jacob, should we focus on offensive tackle or cornerback more at 20? I still think tackle, but it could be a BPA situation. What's BPA? Best player available. Let's say Slater, Sewell, and Darrisaw are all gone, and every corner except for Surtain is still on the board. Well, maybe in that scenario you go cornerback, right? I like Tevin Jenkins enough to take him at 20, so I'd be okay with that pick at tackle. But yeah, if it's one of these two positions, maybe you go best player, but if it's close at all on your board, I think you have to lean tackle if you are Chicago. Speaking of which, who is your dream draft pick for the Chicago Bears? Maybe it's a trade-up player. Maybe it's someone you're sticking with at 20. Maybe it's, a sleeper pick in the second or third round. Let me know, dream draft pick for the Chicago Bears. Tamber the Lamber, appreciate you joining us. With the Panthers trading for Darnold, could we trade up to them to get Mac Jones? In theory, sure, but I think Mac Jones is going number 3. Or there's at least a good chance. That doesn't mean you can't trade up with Carolina and get Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I think that's definitely a possibility. I do think Carolina will look to trade down and get more draft picks after they just gave out some picks for Darnold. So, yeah, I think if one of the 5 quarterback prospects is still available at number 8 and Carolina is looking to trade down, I'm showing interest at that point if I'm Chicago. John Elia, 3rd and Foles for Jimmy G in his contract. You can't really absorb his contract right now. That's the issue. It's like $24 million if you trade for Jimmy G. So you would have to cut Jimmy Graham at that point, and then probably restructure a couple of other contracts as well. By the way, Foles doesn't really add any to that trade, so it's really a 3rd for Jimmy G. The Niners claim that they want a 1st for Jimmy G, which good luck with that.